Welcome back to our channel, Dr. Chris Key to the Manager's Mindset. Today, we are embarking on an ambitious journey to unravel a question that has been at the forefront of many minds. Why do nations fail? As you tune in with us, we invite you to join our exploration, to challenge your preconceptions, and to gain a deeper understanding of the world around us. In the following segments, we will dissect various contributing factors to national failure, from governance and economic policies to social divisions and beyond. So, let's dive right into this intriguing topic. But before we do, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell to stay updated on our latest content. Now let's get started with our first segment. Why do nations fail? Consider this. Why do nations fail? Why do some countries flourish while others fall into chaos? It's a question that has puzzled historians, economists, and political scientists for centuries. The answer is complex, multifaceted, and deeply rooted in a myriad of factors. One might think of poor governance, where ineffective leadership fails to deliver essential services, or where corruption erodes public trust. Then there's the impact of economic policies, with missteps leading to stagnation and a lack of opportunities. Social divisions, too, can ignite conflict and hinder progress. Don't forget external factors, such as colonial history and global economic trends, or the corrosive effect of inequality, which can breed social unrest and undermine the state. Lack of infrastructure and education also play significant roles, as does the so-called resource curse and environmental degradation. Each factor intertwines with another, creating a unique tapestry for each nation. Let's delve into these issues one by one, starting with governance. Poor governance is a major reason why nations fail. Picture a country where the government is not just ineffective but blatantly corrupt. Essential services are not delivered, stability is not maintained, and public trust erodes faster than a sandcastle at high tide. This is the reality for many nations around the globe. For instance, consider a country where the leadership is more interested in lining their own pockets than in the well-being of their citizens. Or a nation where the government is so inefficient that it cannot deliver basic services like clean water, education, or healthcare. Or an autocracy where the lack of democratic processes stifles any hope of progress. These are not just hypotheticals, but real scenarios that have led to the failure of nations. But governance is just one piece of the puzzle. Let's turn our attention to economic policies. Misguided economic policies can set a nation on the path to failure. These policies often manifest in the form of economic stagnation, inflation, or a lack of diversification. For instance, consider a country that relies heavily on a single commodity for its economic sustenance. This over-reliance can be perilous, as a downturn in global demand or prices can send the economy into a tailspin. Similarly, poor fiscal management can lead to runaway inflation, eroding the purchasing power of citizens and stifling economic growth. Countries such as Zimbabwe and Venezuela provide cautionary tales of hyperinflation, largely due to imprudent economic policies. On the other hand, an inability to diversify the economic base can lead to stagnation and vulnerability to global economic shifts. Japan's lost decade is a stark reminder of this. To wrap up, the economic policies of a nation are crucial in its journey towards success or failure. Next, we'll look at how social divisions can contribute to a nation's downfall. Deep social divisions can be a serious obstacle to a nation's success. Picture a tapestry. Each thread represents a different ethnic, religious, or social group. Woven together, these threads form a nation's social fabric. But when these threads are pulled apart or tangled due to deep-seated divisions, the tapestry or the nation can start to unravel. Consider Yugoslavia. It was a country that thrived on diversity with multiple ethnic groups coexisting. However, deep-seated ethnic tensions eventually led to a brutal civil war, resulting in the disintegration of the country. Or take South Africa during apartheid, where racial divisions were institutionalized, leading to decades of conflict and social unrest. These divisions can breed conflict and instability, hindering a nation's progress. They can prevent the formation of a shared national identity, and without that, it's difficult for a nation to move forward. External factors also play a role in national failures, as we'll see next. Sometimes a nation's failure can be influenced by factors beyond its control. It's important to recognize that the path a country walks is not always of its own choosing. The echoes of colonial history, for instance, can still be heard. The division of continents, the extraction of resources, and the imposition of foreign systems and ideologies have left deep scars on many nations. These past influences can limit a country's growth, dictating its present and shaping its future. Then there's the geopolitical landscape, a chessboard where nations are not just players, but also pawns. A country's stability can be drastically affected by the political maneuvers of more powerful nations, altering the course of its development. Think of wars fought on foreign soils, or economic sanctions imposed due to global politics. These are external factors that can cripple a nation's progress, often with little to no fault of its own. And let's not forget global economic trends. The rise and fall of international markets, changes in global trade policies, or even a sudden pandemic can send economies into a tailspin. Nations heavily reliant on exports or tourism, for instance, can find themselves facing economic hardship seemingly overnight due to factors far beyond their control. Transitioning from external factors, let's delve into the issue of inequality. A nation's health is not just measured by its wealth, but how that wealth is distributed. High levels of inequality can create a chasm between the haves and the have-nots, leading to social unrest. If a significant portion of the population feels left behind, the legitimacy of the state can be undermined. Inequality, whether it's in terms of wealth, access to services, or opportunities, can breed resentment and conflict, and can ultimately push a nation towards failure. In short, external factors and inequality are not just peripheral issues, but vital pieces of the puzzle when it comes to understanding why nations fail. Moving on, let's discuss the importance of infrastructure and education. A nation's development can be crippled by inadequate infrastructure and education. It's like trying to drive a car without wheels or navigate without a compass. Infrastructure, the physical systems of a nation such as highways, airports, and power facilities, forms the backbone of an economy. It facilitates trade, promotes tourism, and enables the efficient movement of goods and services. When these systems are lacking or poorly maintained, it hampers economic activity and development. Similarly, education is the engine of social mobility and economic progress. It equips citizens with the skills and knowledge necessary to innovate, solve problems, and adapt to changing circumstances. A lack of access to quality education keeps individuals and communities trapped in cycles of poverty, limiting opportunities for advancement. Countries like Afghanistan and Haiti have suffered greatly from these twin deficits, hindering their growth and progress. Next, we'll look at the resource curse, a paradoxical situation where abundance leads to failure. Some nations rich in natural resources paradoxically fail because of them. This statement might sound counterintuitive, but it's a phenomenon known as the resource curse. The resource curse is a paradox where countries with an abundance of natural resources, such as oil or minerals, tend to have less economic growth, less democracy, and worse development outcomes than countries with fewer natural resources. How does this happen? A key reason is that the wealth generated by these resources can lead to corruption, as those in power may seek to control and exploit these resources for their own gain. This can undermine good governance, leading to political instability and conflict. Moreover, an economy heavily reliant on a single resource is highly vulnerable to fluctuations in global commodity prices, which can cause economic turmoil. But the curse of resources doesn't end there. It's closely tied to another critical factor that can lead to national failure: environmental degradation. Overexploitation of natural resources driven by short-term gains often leads to long-term environmental damage. Deforestation, loss of biodiversity, soil erosion, and pollution are just a few of the adverse effects that can result from such overexploitation. Environmental degradation isn't just an ecological problem, it's a socio-economic one too. Healthy ecosystems are crucial for maintaining the services we rely on, like clean water, food, and climate regulation. When these are compromised, it can threaten livelihoods, exacerbate inequalities, and trigger social unrest. Moreover, the effects of environmental degradation are often felt most acutely by the most vulnerable in society, further driving inequality. And with climate change exacerbating these impacts, the stakes have never been higher. In essence, the resource curse and environmental degradation are interlinked challenges that can trap nations in a cycle of poor governance, economic instability, and social conflict, undermining their long-term sustainability. So, as we've seen, there are many reasons why nations fail. But understanding these reasons is the first step towards finding solutions and breaking the cycle of failure. Understanding why nations fail is complex, with multiple overlapping factors at play. We've traversed the terrain of poor governance, where ineffective leadership and corruption can erode public trust and stability. We've examined economic policies and how their mismanagement can result in stagnation and inflation. We've also delved into deep-rooted social divisions that can lead to conflict and create barriers to national progress. External factors, inequality, a lack of infrastructure and education, the resource curse, and environmental degradation are all significant contributors to a nation's downfall. The intricate interplay of these elements, influenced by a nation's unique history, culture, and geopolitical context, can lead to national failures. However, it's essential to remember that these are not inevitable outcomes. By understanding these factors, we can hope to learn from the past and work towards a more stable and prosperous future for all nations. Thank you for joining us on this enlightening journey exploring why nations fail. It's our hope that this knowledge can spur conversations and actions towards creating a world where every nation thrives. If you found this video insightful, please subscribe and share it with your peers to spread this essential knowledge. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss our future content tackling complex global issues. Together, we can learn from the past, understand the present, and shape a better future. Thanks for watching, and always remember, knowledge is power.